Hi, this is Jesse White. I'm running for state representative in the 46th District of Pennsylvania, which is parts of Washington and Allegheny counties. And now with the ballot set for the April 26th primary election, there's another Democrat running for this seat in addition to me. I've never met the man, and I've only spoken to him recently for the first time, but I have no intention of saying anything negative about him. People don't want to hear that kind of trash talk, and this man has done nothing to deserve it. And so I'm just running on the platform that I'm just the most qualified and experienced man for the job. I do want to address one issue, though, which is, although I was a member of the House Democratic Caucus for 8 years, the current House leadership has chosen to support my opponent instead of me in the primary. This is disappointing, but really in no way a surprise. I never discussed this publicly before, but I was strongly, and I do mean strongly, pressured by the House Democratic leaders on 3 separate occasions not to run in 2014 or to withdraw from the race. The rationale was simple. They had bought into the sensationalism created by the people who were very nervous about the issues I was discussing, and in many ways, their reaction validated that sensationalism. In 2014, the leadership went against their own longstanding policy of not interfering in a primary by helping one of my opponents get off the ballot, and then use the money that I paid as a member of the Democratic Campaign Committee to use against me. Despite their efforts, I still won the 2014 primary, but was weakened both financially and politically by the time November rolled around, and that definitely helped the Republicans take the seat in the 46th district. Now, the story told to me by several insiders in the Capitol was that the natural gas industry, who I've had no problem challenging in the past when I think they've done wrong by the people of the district, had decided to get me out of office by any means necessary. And they told Democratic leadership that if I wasn't the nominee in 2014, then they wouldn't put money into the race. So it made sense in retrospect for them to get me out, to try to get me out, especially because the candidates the leadership ended up supporting were also heavily supported by the natural gas industry. It clearly all just makes sense after the fact. So why am I even talking about this? It's because it's symbolic of how screwed up things are in Harrisburg. Really, on both the Democratic and the Republican parties. The powers that be just don't care anymore whether a legislator does a good job representing their district. They only care about making sure the deck is stacked with people who are going to play the game and help maintain the status quo. And when it looks like they may actually have to take a stand on a controversial yet critical issue, they tuck their tails between their legs and use their money to rig the process to ensure that people don't have a real choice. This is why Harrisburg is so broken. It's about numbers, not about people anymore. If nobody makes noise about a problem, then the problem doesn't exist to them. And especially for those of us down here in the southwestern corner of the state who have a very unique set of issues that we're dealing with, they don't want to hear about it. Because if they don't hear about it, it doesn't exist. And if it doesn't exist to them, then they don't have to pay any attention to it. So it's a perspective completely and totally out of touch with reality. And it's a clear reason why even the most basic tasks of governing seem impossibly out of reach when you look at the legislature and their recent failures to even pass a state budget. Now, there are 203 seats in the state house, and it's very difficult for one person to dictate policy, whether you're in the majority or the minority party. But what I can do, and what I will do if elected in 2016, is to serve as the eyes and the ears for the regular people who have been effectively abandoned by their state government on both sides of the aisle. I'm going to talk about the tough issues. I'll expose the backroom deals. And I'll tell you what's really going on and how your tax dollars are being spent, or in many cases, misspent. Honestly, I'm glad I'm not the choice of the establishment, because that establishment is the fundamental problem that nobody wants you to know about. Instead, I want to be part of the solution. And anyone who may be swayed by the rhetoric coming from the current Democratic leadership, remember that these are the same political masterminds that took the Democrats from 106 seats down to 84 since 2006, giving the Republicans the largest majority they've had in decades and allowing them to do some really damaging policies to Pennsylvania. So maybe it's time to stop letting them try to stop picking our candidates for us, because they clearly haven't been so hot at it over the years. To be clear, there are a lot of good people on both the Democratic and Republican sides of the aisle in Harrisburg, and I look forward to working together with them to come up with some common sense solutions to the real challenges that we face. But make no mistake, I am not going back there to make everyone else like me so I can go to fancy dinners with lobbyists and generally act better than everyone else. I'm going there to advocate and fight like hell for the people of the 46th District, for families just like mine, to make sure that people have a clear voice in their government. And it's a government right now filled with silent yes men who are more interested in getting reelected and laying low than actually doing the job the right way. I've shown in the past I'm willing to speak my mind when it's important, whether it costs me an election or not, and I'd be willing to do it again, because that, to me, is what public service is all about. It's not self-service, it's public service. I didn't work for the leaders the first time around. I worked for you. And with your help, I will be able to work for you again. The only way to beat the big money at their own game is to avoid the circus and get down to the issues that really matter, which is exactly what you can expect from me between now and Election Day. To learn more, visit www.supportjesse.com to learn more and become part of the campaign. It's your government, and you deserve to be part of the conversation. Thank you, and I appreciate all your continued support.